Rico is known for having the bounciest balls inside of Brawl Stars, but a lot of people don't know how to play with his balls correctly. So in this video, I'm going to be teaching you everything you need to know from the tips, the tricks, the best kit, and the best modes for Rico in order to play him to the best of your ability. So we're going to get straight into it, and we're going to get into his kit. For the longest time, with his gadgets, I used to think the healing one was just so much better. But when they kind of did the big conversion with like health and damage, where like every brawl got like a big like percentage buff, I can't remember the exact changes, but they basically made his gadget where he shoots out the balls in all directions much stronger. It was originally like pretty weak, but they buffed it more than they buffed all his other stats. So that made it a lot stronger in the end, which actually makes it a bit better than the other gadget. The healing one also did get a nerf. It was like 500 damage per bounce, but it went to 200, which was quite a big nerf. So obviously that is quite a bad part for him. A lot of the times he doesn't have much of a defense mechanism, so the one which bounces around him just generally is very good at keeping like people from killing him, and it's a good job like at defense. We've got the star powers. The first one makes the bullets from the attacking super do more damage, and the second one obviously makes him run faster. Generally I just go with super bouncy, the one that does more damage. To be fair, you could go with either. I have seen quite a lot of people go with Robo Retreat, the one which makes you run faster, and then like just absolutely use some sick plays. But you've got to be quite skilled to really like use it as much, because a lot of the time where you're playing Rico, you're playing him in quite like dangerous situations, like holding areas, so a lot of the time you don't really need the speed as much. That's just my reasoning of it, at least. So for the gears, obviously the reload gear is kind of essential. I'm just gonna put it out there. If you don't believe me, you're wrong. Reload gear, super vital, super important. And the other one I go with is damage. It's very simple. When you're around a wall trying to like hit stuff, you're under 50% health, you're unstoppable. When you've got your super or your hypercharge or something like that, you just like own that area, paired with the damage gear. So very reliable one, best one to go with in this situation in my opinion. But yeah, best modes. This is a kind of obvious one. I would say it's a toss up between knockout, wipeout, heist, and even hot zone. You can kind of play him everywhere. He's like Spike and maybe even like Charlie in terms of like you can play the brawler everywhere, but I would say like knockout, wipeout, heist are the three like ones you want to play him in if anywhere. Heist is very good in a few particular maps. The map I was playing on in this video is his like best heist map, because the wall on the right of the enemy's side, it's very good for positioning, because obviously Rico's whole gimmick is bouncing his attack, so like being able to bounce it around the wall and basically keep any enemy at bay is good, when that map's pretty bad for throwers and throwers that counter him. With knockout, there's quite a lot of really good maps there as well. There's Bell's Rock, there's maps like that, and then there's also like quite a good selection in wipeout as well, because he's a very like long range brawler, even though he's like made for the bounce gimmick. So generally he's just very solid everywhere. It's interesting. But yeah, moving on to general tips. So this applies whether you've got the hypercharge or not, but generally I'm going to assume you're at power 11, so most of these tips will like be focused towards the like high end of people, even though if you're casual, keep watching, I need to watch that please. Okay, but yeah, main advice, don't overcommit to shooting on walls. What I see a lot is there'll be someone and they'll be like shooting 10 different shots on a wall when I'm in range to be shot without the wall bounce, if that makes sense. Like they could literally shoot me without bouncing it, but they're still trying to bounce it for either the extra damage or just to be like different, to be quirky. I don't really know their exact reasoning, but like I don't know, it's not worth it in my opinion to be doing all that all the time. Obviously if you can control a zone, because that's Rico's best thing, controlling an area, because like they cannot get through his attack if he's like bouncing it all over the place. If it's better to bounce it, if it's better to like keep them in a place, and the only way of doing that is by bouncing it off a wall, do that. I'm not saying don't bounce it off the walls, but don't overcommit to like bouncing them off walls. Be tactical with when and where you do it, because if you're doing it too much, it doesn't really do anything. It's not useful. So yeah, moving on. I also want to say is Hypercharge. He got one in the recent update. I don't have it. It basically just makes his bullets bounce a lot further. But if you don't know, you can only get hit by Rika's super twice, I think it is. I think you can get hit by it once and then by the rebound. But after that, the shots just go through you and you don't take any damage. So, with that being said, it's not that useful. Because a lot of the time with Rika's super, you're just trying to like blast the enemy. Or like bounce it off to hit them at an angle. But you're still trying to blast the enemy. So, there isn't a whole purpose to the hypercharge, at least I don't think. If it was like the mutation where like a lot of his shots were always like bouncing around, it would keep them like so hyper focused away from a spot that it would be OP. But it's just the super, it's just literally one super, unless you get it again and then you use the second one, etc, etc. But that tells you that you don't really need to like overdo it with the super, just use it as a buff. That's how I would kind of see it, you know. So yeah, the gadget, I said to use the one that does the damage. It's the one I've been using in this video. The main thing with that is just use it in tactical moments as well. So if you're on a heist safe, you can use it on top of the heist safe. It will do a bunch of damage. It's always useful there. If you're in a situation where it's like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, die because an Edgar's jumping on top of me, it might not work against an Edgar. I did have a clip of, at least I played the game at some point. I might not put it in the video, but it was where an Edgar jumped on me. I used it. It didn't quite kill him. It did like 4,000, but then like he died instantly because my teammate just one-tapped him and finished him off. I think it was a Viper or something. So it's pretty like easy to just, you know, just get him, get assassins and bros like that out of the way. If it's knockout or something, you don't really want to take the loss, but if you're getting jumped on, that's your best option. So with that all being said, I think I've kind of gone through all the main things. I've gone through his gadget, I've gone through when to bounce his shots, which kind of applies to his star power. The gears, they're kind of self-explanatory. The modes, just play quite defensive. Don't go super aggressive. He's not one of those brawlers. He's not like Colt in the way where you can like be breaking walls down, shutting people down, absolutely blasting them. He's kind of played similar to Colt, but he's more like, he's a more defensive Colt is a way of putting it. He holds zones instead of like trying to team wipe. So yeah, that is basically it. Make sure to subscribe, join the members. Currently Gurn's only tier 3 members, so shout out to Gurn, as usual. And goodbye.